Hi, welcome to THEO 3200 Introduction to the New Testament. I am Alan Georgia, your professor for this course. This is going to be sort of a video introduction of sorts, just trying to set up the course. This is certainly not my first time teaching a class. This is my first time ever teaching an online class, so I'm sort of getting used to the new sort of system. I presume all of you are very familiar with this kind of material, so we'll be learning together and figuring out things as we go along, but I'm looking forward to seeing how the online environment can, sort of really help our study, and we can use it, to our benefit. So I'm a fifth-year PhD student here at Fordham University in the theology department, where I study in the Christianity and Antiquity program. So I study the New Testament and early Christian literature, and I'm especially interested in questions about sort of the cultures of early Christianity and Judaism and how they interfaced with the larger Greek and Roman world of late antiquity. So I'm interested in questions about religious identity, about persuasion, about ancient politics, about ritual and performance, all sort of about how culture was performed and developed among ancient people. So I hope that gives you a sense of what I'm bringing to the course, and certainly why I'm sort of sitting in front of you. To address a couple of other things, what I wanted to address specifically is the nature of this course itself. So this course is intended to fulfill the requirement for sacred texts and traditions at Fordham University. And I wanted to briefly explain and set up how I understand that sort of course requirement. So the Catholic sense of the liberal arts is something that we talk about a lot, and you've probably heard about before. This idea of doing work in a series of different kinds of subjects so that you become aware of the questions and issues that are sort of there in things like sociology and music and literature and religion and things like that. In its truest form, it was intended to be a way of rounding ourselves to the shape of the world around us, and specifically to the way in which people live in the world, is how I would describe it. The liberal arts were a way of acknowledging that human beings do things and bring things to our experience of the world, and that the liberal arts is a way of touching on all of those as we go forward. People as a whole, I would say, are innately religious, not individually, but as groups. Obviously, we all have our own individual beliefs and backgrounds and things like that, but in terms of human cultures, in terms of human history, people worship, people ask questions about ultimate meanings. They structure their lives toward the uncertain and the mysterious. Take on average, religious questions, inclinations, and concerns are elemental to how people live. And to me, that is the element of human sort of experience that this course is supposed to address. At the same time, whatever our individual backgrounds or beliefs might be, we sort of can't think of the idea or question of God as a closed-off question. Even in 2014 in America, where atheism has sort of a rising cultural significance, these religious questions persist, even among those who are precisely addressing them out of a lack of belief. And individually, in a pluralistic society that regards individual conscience as this inviolable part of who we are, we all have kinds of questions that are addressing religious concerns in one way or another. So that's sort of the background we all, to one degree or another, are going to bring to this kind of a course. But it begs the question, sort of, what are we doing here? What's bringing us to this course, and sort of what's at issue there? So first off, the thing I want to make very clear is that this is in no sense a sort of catechesis course or a course in spiritual formation. In no way is this course intended to convince you of anything or persuade you to believe anything in particular. That is not the nature of this course, and that's not the goals that it sort of has in mind. Additional to that, I want to note that this course is not a Catholic course. At a place like Fordham University, doing a course in the theology department at Fordham University, it's easy to sort of conflate the two together. But the New Testament and early Christianity as a whole, while it is certainly taken as formative and significant by Catholics in the Catholic Church, the New Testament of the Bible is not the possession of any single religious tradition. So, and one of the results of studying the New Testament in places like Fordham University and in places where thoughtful research are done, has been to sort of liberate the history of the New Testament and of early Christianity from sort of solely this individual church or confessional-based, kind of thinking, and not only seeing the New Testament as a theological text, or that it's something which is primarily exists to tell us what to believe. A good example of this, and something to bring up because I considered actually including it in our course, is there's recently published a version of the New Testament by a wonderful scholar named Amy Jill Levine at Vanderbilt called the Jewish Study Bible of the New Testament. And her whole project is about the fact that the New Testament is fundamentally a Jewish document and should be regarded and considered by Jewish people in the contemporary world as part of their own heritage. And this is one of the things that studying the New Testament in the way that we're going to do in this course from sort of a thoughtful, critical, historical point of view sort of allows us to see in this text. So I want to sort of clear those things up. Having said all of that, sort of a big caveat about what this course isn't trying to do or intentionally doing, I also completely acknowledge that we will certainly be addressing religious concerns that bear on our own personal beliefs, and this is we certainly can't avoid it, and it's not at all a bad or problematic thing. This is a good thing, it's a welcome thing, and it's something that we should certainly give time and countenance to. What we have to be aware of and concerned about as we go forward is walking the narrow line between acknowledging what is personal and significant to our own sense of the world and our own beliefs and our own thoughts and beliefs about God, and not imposing that on everyone else who is approaching the same material. So in other words, those questions are valid, but those questions are valid to us as individuals that we have to also bring into the conversation. So we can certainly ask those questions about what this means, what this says about how we should regard God, who Jesus is, those kinds of questions. But what's important for us is to acknowledge that that is what we're asking, and that there are other people who are reading this in different ways, and that's part of what we do here at Fordham University. So okay, having said all of that, I want to just sort of set up like the methodology or the guiding approach of this course, which I would describe as sort of a critical historical understanding of the New Testament, specifically as our primary and central artifact of the early Christian movement in the 1st and 2nd centuries. So putting the New Testament in that historical context is the main goal, is understanding this text as it exists in this very complicated political, social, cultural environment, and where it's coming from and what it's doing there. At the same time, however, as the course develops, we're going to acknowledge the fact that reading the New Testament and using this as a part of Western culture in the broadest possible sense is something that is also sort of relevant to our interests. So as we go forward, we are also going to address the issue of interpretation and of reception by more contemporary people in order to put that into conversation with the ancient historical context that I hope is always at sort of the forefront for us. So what I hope you are all going to get out of this course is a sense of why studying religious texts like the New Testament tells us as much about ourselves as it can tell us about anything else. And I hope that we can see that the beliefs of the people that we're going to be sort of reading about and talking about show the way in which these kinds of religious questions and concerns are part of how people cope with life in the world. The New Testament is a terrific resource for asking questions about what concerns and anxieties have resonated with people for such a long time, and which certainly informed the heritage that we have at a place like Fordham University. So that's the broadest overview. Obviously, we'll get into lots of specifics going forward, but I wanted to sort of lay those things out, both to give us a sense of what we're doing here, and also to allay any concerns or uncertainties about sort of what we're doing. So this is a course that I hope to be sort of open-ended and one that we can address all kinds of questions as they arise. So finally, just a few explanatory things that are more specific about the sort of mechanics of the course and what we're doing here. So I want to make a distinction that is, I hoped I made it clear in the syllabus, but just to sort of explain it here, is that there are going to be two sort of more day-to-day type things you'll be doing in this course. Blackboard on the one hand, which is sort of our discussion medium. It's where we're going to be raising our questions and responding to elements in the course and things like that. And there will be sort of activities, which are specific assignment-oriented kinds of things that will address a specific element of one part of our week or one thing that we're sort of looking at and reading. So the way that I have it set up in the syllabus is that I expect at least 10 Blackboard responses through the course of the term. So this is, you should think of this as sort of like discussion in class, like if I was lecturing to you, in person, I'd ask questions, we'd have a sort of a back and forth. That is what Blackboard is for, and I'm making 10 as the sort of amount as a way of getting us all to be involved in participating. Activities are more like if we were going to do like a small group type activity in class that's supposed to focus on one part of what we're doing, and that's the kind of thing that you'll do specifically, and you'll sort of email it to me, and I'll give you sort of a brief feedback on that. So I hope that's clear. I also want to raise the importance of reading, which sounds pedantic, and I'm sorry about that, because it's sort of easy to sound that way. But what I just would want to say in a course like this is that the kind of reading that we're doing is very different than the kind of reading that we instinctively do. The kind of reading that we're doing in this course is supposed to be extremely attentive. It's supposed to be very thorough. It's supposed to be aware of details, and it's aware of the dynamics of what's going on in the text itself. In a lot of ways, the sort of broader benefit of a course like this is a chance to really hone your ability to approach a text in a new way, and sort of wring it out of all of its material, and sort of get all of those parts together. So reading both the primary text, which is the New Testament, as well as some of the secondary materials like Ehrman and obviously some of the material in the lectures, is going to be very, very crucial for this course. It's one of those things you can attempt to stress, but until you really start doing it, it'll be difficult to explain how lost you will be if you are not keeping up with the reading. Alright, additionally, Friday is the class update day, so that'll be the day that new material will come onto the website. I will be responding to Blackboard toward the end of weeks, sort of getting toward the Friday switchover, and I'll be getting activities back to you as soon as I can once they sort of come in. We'll both need leeway in terms of as you're sending those in through the week, and when I'll get those back to you. I will note that there are sort of larger assignments, the glossary, a book review, and 2 exams. I will be giving you more directions about those as we get closer to them, so I didn't want to sort of overload the syllabus with a lot of details at that point. But we'll certainly talk more about those and make sure that we're all on the same page. So I'm going to have online office hours. So I have my email address on the syllabus, atgacademics@gmail.com. I will basically be on GChat there on Wednesdays from like 9 to 10. So if you have Google and you want to sort of add me as someone you can chat with, you can feel free to do that. Obviously, also you can email me and ask questions sort of whenever. I mean, so those office hours are just an occasion when I'll be around specifically, but feel free to email as frequently as you'd like. Do give me about 24 hours to get back to you. Usually I'll be faster than that, but not always, so I don't want to up your expectations when you get an email right back from me that it'll always be that way. So yeah, that's the nuts and bolts. Obviously, you can expect more announcements and conversation from me online throughout the course. Again, please email with any questions you may or may not have, and I look forward to getting to know all of you through this course. All right, talk to you soon.